Alright, so as you've probably guessed from the thumbnail for this video, I recently went on a trip to visit Stonehenge. And I'm sure most of you guys know what Stonehenge is, but for those of you that don't, it's basically a extremely old Neolithic monument located in Wiltshire, United Kingdom. It's about 5,000 years old, so it kind of predates the pyramids in Giza in Egypt. And it's a site which is very much shrouded in mystery. Because this place was sort of built by people such a long time ago, kind of predates any kind of writing or anything, there's no real information to kind of explain why they built the site. Modern day scientists have been able to kind of sort of figure out at least some of it. We do know that the monument serves as a kind of astronomical calendar. It was used for measuring the summer solstice every year and also the winter solstice. But much beyond that, I don't think we know a lot. We certainly don't know why they chose to build a monument at this very specific location. But we know that it had some kind of very big importance to them because the stones that they used to build the monument, they actually came from hundreds and hundreds of miles away. The Neolithic people back then, they dragged stones from Wales and even Scotland, like 600 miles. They dragged some of these stones all the way down to this site. And we don't know why. We don't know what's special about the stones, and we don't know what's special about the site. So, yeah, it's a very, very enchanting, mysterious site, and it's absolutely fascinating to see. Now, obviously, it was very, very cool to visit the site and to actually walk around it and see it with my own eyes. But I am a drone pilot, and my whole YouTube channel is about flying drones. So obviously, I was very keen to get some of my drones up in the air and get some aerial footage of the site. Now, this is where things get a little bit complicated, but also a little bit interesting. All around the site, there are signs that tell you that you're not allowed to fly drones. It also very clearly says it on the website that you can't fly drones. However, there are some legal loopholes, and I'm not the first person to fly drones there. You look on YouTube, you find loads of videos of people flying drones there. And that's because they've used these legal loopholes. So the whole Stonehenge site is owned or managed by the English Heritage Trust. And because it's their land, they have the right to say that they don't want drones taking off or landing on their property. But that's the key part there, is they only have the authority to prohibit you from taking off or landing on their property, but they don't have the authority to tell you that you can't fly over their property. And that's because in kind of like UK law, no one owns the airspace above their land. So you technically can't actually prohibit people from flying over your land unless there happens to be some kind of like NOTAM put in place. So long story short, you can actually legally fly at the Stonehenge site as long as you don't take off and land on the property owned by English Heritage Trust. Now, this is where the loophole kind of kicks in. So it so happens that right beside Stonehenge, kind of carving right through the land there's actually a old byway road. I don't fully understand the terminology of this, but there's basically this byway road. It's like a very old road that isn't owned by English Heritage, and the public have right of access to it. Because that's a public road, you are actually legally allowed to take off and land your drone on that road. And because that road is right beside the Stonehenge site, it means you can take off from that road. You can then fly, around the Stonehenge site while still easily maintaining line of sight because it's very, very close. And then you can land again on that road. And then technically, you haven't actually broken any rules. And this is what a lot of drone pilots do. And this is why YouTube's full of so many drone videos. Is because they've managed to circumnavigate the restrictions by taking off and landing on that road. And as far as I can tell, the staff that work at Stonehenge are very much aware of this loophole, and they kind of accept that people are going to fly drones there. I've heard a few sort of reports that sometimes they'll come over and they will talk to drone pilots, and I guess just to kind of make sure that people are aware of the rules. But yeah, in general, actually, yes, you can fly drones at Stonehenge. So that's very much what I did whilst I was there. Now, just to sort of explain, obviously, you can't just go fly and do anything you want. There are still a lot of other rules you have to follow. In the United Kingdom, there's a whole drone code, which pilots have to adhere to at any location. And it's all just very sensible things, like don't go flying over big crowds, don't go flying too close to sort of people, don't annoy people, don't endanger anyone is kind of the main thing. And also in the UK, if you want to fly a drone, it does have to be registered. You have to have a flyer ID and a operator ID, which you have to have displayed on the drone. And also you just be aware of things like NOTAMs. Sometimes bits of airspace do get closed by the CAA. But yeah, if you sort of follow all of those rules, most of which, are obviously quite sensible, then yeah, you can fly at Stonehenge. So yeah, that is what I ended up doing. I ended up flying 2 of my drones at Stonehenge. The first one was my little DJI Neo 2. This is a little sub 250 gram drone, a very low risk drone, I would say, because it's very small, very low power. And then the other drone I flew was my bigger X500 V2 thermal imaging drone, which we'll talk about a little bit in a minute. But yeah, so the first one I took up was the Neo 2, and yeah, as you can see, I sort of flew around the Stonehenge site. I was very mindful to not fly until later in the day when the site was basically closed. There wasn't like thousands and thousands of tourists around, just to mitigate that risk of flying near people. And also, as you can see, I very much gave the stones a wide berth. I didn't get super close to them. I stayed a good 100 or 200 meters away from the stones. And also, I very specifically didn't fly over the stones. Obviously, there's always the possibility that something might go wrong with your drone and it might fall out the sky. And the last thing I want it to do is drop down and land on the monument and damage it. So yeah, I just very much flew sort of around the site at a sort of what I consider to be a safe sort of distance. And yeah, it's fascinating. Obviously it's very cool to be able to sort of visit a site like Stonehenge and sort of see it in person at ground level, but just to be able to get up in the air and get that aerial perspective allows you to really kind of take in the whole site all in one go. And it's a very interesting, very privileged view. Now, obviously this footage, it's nice footage, but it's nothing groundbreaking. Like, as I said earlier, there's loads of videos on YouTube of people flying drones at Stonehenge. My footage is not remarkable in any way. Other people with better drones have got much better, much more cinematic footage. But still, I enjoyed flying the Neo around, have a look at the site, and I do like the footage that I got. But later on in the day, I then went and I flew my second drone. And this is one I mentioned a minute ago. This is my X500 V2 thermal imaging drone. And for those of you who don't know, thermal imaging, it basically means that the camera on this drone is not seeing visible light like a normal drone or your eyes. It's actually seeing thermal. It's seeing infrared. Specifically, it's seeing heat. And yeah, I've been playing around with this thermal drone for the last year or so. I built it early in 2025. And yeah, I'm just fascinated with seeing the world in thermal. I've got loads of videos on my channel where I'm playing around with thermal cameras just because I always get really excited about seeing, things you can't normally see, just the hidden world, so to speak. So I was very keen to take the thermal drone up and just have a look at the site in thermal, just to see if you could see anything different at Stonehenge that maybe you couldn't see with your normal eyes. Now, just to explain, I did this flight much later in the day. I did it, I think it was around 10 o'clock or 10:30, something like that. So it was starting to get dark. It wasn't fully dark, but it was very much starting to get dark. And the reason why I did that flight so much later, one, just because it's a much bigger drone, potentially more dangerous. So I wanted to make sure that there really was hardly anybody around when I was flying. And the second reason is because this camera could see heat. It had been a very, very hot day that day. I think it had been about 28 degrees at its peak. So I wanted to just give the site a few hours just to cool down a little bit, because otherwise the thermal camera, everything would just be so bright you wouldn't really be able to make out any details. I wanted things to cool down a little bit so there's a bit of a thermal gradient. So yeah, that's why I flew a little bit later at night. Now, to fly drones at night in the United Kingdom, you do have to have a flashing green strobe light on the drone. So as you can see, I've got that. And I had a spotter with me. I didn't really need a spotter because I was kind of flying sort of line of sight, but it was just sensible practice to have a spotter with me. Now, just to really mitigate any kind of risks to people or the monument, I very much kept the drone far, far away from the monument when I did this flight. And I didn't go around the monument like I did with the Neo. Basically, just in front of the monument, there's a field which has public access. So I very much kept the drone over that field so that, if anything did go wrong and it fell out of the sky, it was just going to land in that public field rather than land in the Stonehenge site. I just thought that was sensible. So anyway, here is the footage from the thermal drone. It's not going to be anywhere near as cinematic as it was with the Neo. This is a very different type of drone. It's not really a cinematic flying drone. So basically, just to explain what we've got here. So by default, the thermal camera shoots in black and white. And white is hot and black is cold. But the thermal camera is actually capable of shooting in various different color palettes. And these color palettes are not just for aesthetics to make the image look pretty. The individual palettes, they all have different thermal sensitivities. So what that basically means is that, depending on which palette you can use, you can see different levels of heat information. You get different sort of details kind of show up in the footage. So for that reason, as you can see in the footage here, when I got the drone up in the air, I then sort of cycled through the various different color palettes just to see how the site looked in the different modes. Just kind of curious to see whether you can see sort of different details, in one mode versus another. I did sort of move the drone around a little bit. Like I said, it's not a particularly cinematic flight. This is mostly just a kind of a hover and kind of look down at it kind of thing. But I did take the drone up a little bit higher and to kind of move it over a little bit just to get a bit more of a looking down shot on the site and, again, kind of playing with the different color palettes. And the footage, I think it looks really cool. I can't really say that I could sort of see anything that I couldn't see with my eyes or with the other drone. I was kind of hoping that maybe like some hidden details about the site might kind of emerge in the thermal. You might be able to see some things that you couldn't see normally with visible light. But unfortunately, I can't really say that I could see that. It was still very cool though, just to look at it in thermal, just to see it in a different way. And as far as I can tell, no one's ever flown a thermal drone at Stonehenge. I certainly did have a look a while back, and I couldn't find any examples of people flying thermal drones there. So maybe I'm the first person to do it, maybe I'm not. I'm not really sure. But either way, I just thought it was interesting to see the site in thermal. And it was amazing because, like I said, it was a very, very hot day that day, and those stones had got very, very warm during the day. And then stones act like solar batteries. Like, they hold on to that heat for hours afterwards. So even though, the sun had gone down quite a while before and the whole site was cooling down, those stones, as you can see, were still glowing very, very brightly. I just think it looks really, really cool. This is the flying that I did at Stonehenge. A little bit of flying with the Neo 2 and a little bit of flying with the thermal drone. And I guess I just wanted to share this video with you. One, just to kind of sort of show the footage, just because it's a little bit interesting, and I think some people out there will be interested to see it. And two, just to kind of share a little bit of knowledge about sort of the experience of flying at sort of Stonehenge, and to sort of talk a little bit about the legality of it. As you can see, yes, you can fly at Stonehenge. I guess the question is, should you? Some people may sort of argue that you should sort of respect the wishes of English Heritage Trusts and not fly there. Other people may argue that, you should have the right to fly there, and certainly because legally you can, you should be able to exercise that right. That's an argument for, individual people to make. But certainly, if you're interested in flying at Stonehenge, as far as I can tell, legally, you can do it, and I've seen other people do it. I think the only thing to do is to just make sure that you follow the drone code best you can. Just don't be risky. Try and fly safe. Don't be annoying. Don't endanger anyone. Stuff like that. Now I did also just walk around the stones with the thermal camera in my hand. This wasn't flying. This was literally just walking around with the camera in my hand, just so I could get a little bit closer to the stones. So the footage you're seeing at the moment, that is me literally just sort of walking around, just having a look at the stones a little bit closer. And it was also quite cool. Whilst I was at the location, I also got to play around with a Seastar S50 telescope, one of these new digital telescopes. I got to take some really awesome sort of photos of the stars and of some galaxies and stuff whilst at Stonehenge as well, which is also really cool. I find stuff like that absolutely fascinating. I'm basically rambling at this point now, so I'll end the video here. But if you've enjoyed watching it, please do give it a like down below, or consider pressing the hype button, because that really, really helps. And yeah, I guess I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.